back to CTN. I'm your host, Robert Van Sluten. Let's get started. If you go into the documentation window and you go to a class like NSArray and you dig down to a method like array with object, in other words, you're creating an array with just one object in it, the return type is instance type. Now, what is that? Well, it can only be used as a return type. It's the only place it's valid. And it's an indication to the compiler that the return type is an instance of the method's class. In other words, you're returning an instance of whatever class that method is defined in. Now, if it's returning an array, why isn't the return type just simply NSArray? Because you would think that that's what this is actually doing. However, that would create a problem with inheritance because the signature for it would be NSArray, and if you inherit from this class to make your own version of NSArray, you wouldn't be able to override this method because you'd want your signature to be return type of the class that you've defined, and the signature would define it as NSArray. Now, the way they used to get around this previously is they would just simply say ID. The problem is that doesn't give you strong type checking with the compiler, as we've discussed earlier. So, if I wanted to create my own version of NSArray, so in other words, I've created a class here just called CTN class, inherits from NSArray, I could define my own version of array with object, and the return type is instance type. So my version of this implementation would return an instance of type CTN class. Takes a little while to get your head around that. Now you may ask, we have initializers. We have init with style. We saw this in the last episode where we were playing around with tables. How come these aren't returning instance type? Because inits you're inheriting. You're overriding the initialization. It turns out with any inits, the instance type is assumed. In other words, the compiler is just taking ID and implicitly converting it to instance type. That's it. Thanks for watching.